Hello, parents and players. Welcome to the 2019 Oaks Tornadoes football player-parent meeting. I've decided to do this little video to save us a trip into the school on one of the last nights of our summer vacation. So hopefully this video gets out to everybody and they're able to view it. And if you have any questions, please get a hold of me. I will be able to answer any of those questions. On the left-hand side of the screen over here, I'm going to be going through a little PowerPoint with some information. On the right-hand side of the screen is our practice schedule, and I'll go through that momentarily. Here's our 2019 Oaks Tornadoes varsity football schedule and JV football schedule. This information is all online also on the Oaks Public Schools website on the activities calendar. Both the game schedule for varsity, JV, junior high, and the practice schedules are on that calendar. Our coaching staff this year looks a little bit different. I am still the head coach, varsity offensive coordinator. I will coach running backs and defensive line this year. Coach Nolan Peterson is going to coach the varsity defense as the coordinator and also the JV defense, and he will be in charge of the offensive line, linebacker, skill positions. Coach Brennan Hack is going to share the special teams coordinator job, and he will be in charge of the JV offense, and he will coach quarterbacks and defensive backs. Coach Tyler Ukestead is going to join us this year as a third varsity assistant. He's going to help special teams coordination, and he will coach the wide receivers and defensive backs. Coach Lynch and Coach Snyder are going to be in charge of the junior high staff, and they will be joining the varsity staff as much as possible. My contact information you can see on the screen on the left. Please use this at any time to get in touch with me. The two probably easiest ways to get in touch with me are to use the cell phone number and my email address. Football is a team game. It takes individual sacrifices and commitment to better the team. We're asking all our kids to buy into that process and be all in. That comes with a team first attitude, we before me. So players and parents, please understand that your sons are under the critical eye of the community. We need to control our image. We need to be first class in everything we do. Social media can be a great tool for connecting with people and getting information out, and it also can have its dark side. So parents, please monitor your son's social media and make sure that they are being first class in all they do. Football is a loud, tough, disciplined, emotional game, and we're going to coach it that same way. So please understand that we're trying to get the best out of your student athletes, and it takes discipline and emotions to do that at times. A little quote here from Coach Don Meyer: if he's got it, I'll find it. That's my job. And then I send him home, and you can give him a hug, tell him good job, and that you love him. That's your job. So understand the difference between my job and your job. One of the best things you can do the first time you see your son after a game is to remind him that you love him and tell him how much joy you got from watching him play. So just make sure that that car ride home after the game is a positive experience for your player. Playing time is earned in practice and is determined by the coaches. You're invited to come watch practice at any time, but remember you're there to strictly watch. There should be no interaction with players or coaches during that time. One thing we will not discuss is other players. If you want to discuss anything with me about your son's role or your son's jobs or anything like that, we will not discuss other players during that meeting. Play calling is determined by coaches with much preparation and scouting that's put into it, and by our whole staff. So it's not something that we're going to discuss with you. Remember that if you watch a game, that's about 15% of the time that I spend with that you see of the time that I spend with your players. So there's 85% of the time where all those decisions are being made. So please understand that just by watching a game, you're not seeing the whole picture. Our line of communication, please stress to your player that if they don't understand their role or have questions about their role on our football team, that they need to talk to the coach first. Once the player and coach talk, then the player and parent can talk. If nothing has been resolved and you still have questions, please then contact the coach. We can have a player parent coach meeting. If your questions are not answered at that point in time, we can involve the administration as the AD, and then after that, we can go one higher to the administration. This information pertains to missing practice or lifting, and what I determine as an unexcused absence. If we start practice at 4 o'clock and I don't know where your son is at 4 o'clock, that's unexcused. So make sure that your sons are communicating, getting a hold of me, sending me a text message, sending me an email before the start time of that practice or lifting session. I'm going to issue a lock and a locker to each athlete on our football team. Let's make sure that we're locking things at all times. Your computers, your cell phones, your wallets, your stuff should be put in your locker and locked anytime you leave that locker room. Make sure we always have the correct equipment for all practices. And, if we deal with some sort of, weather, lightning or heavy rain and we can't be outside, we're going to practice indoors. So make sure that we have shoes for indoor practice at all times. Remember that I check out equipment for the season and players are responsible for it all. If I don't get it back or it's damaged beyond what I deem a regular full season of damage, then your son will be charged for that equipment. This is just some general information. Remember that physicals need to take place before the first practice of the year. We impact test our athletes as a baseline for return to play following a concussion protocol. Make sure student athlete handbook stuff is read and handed in, signed by both the player and the parents. On the bottom here, make sure we're staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, and eating right. We've learned in the past year or so now, with plenty of studies out there, if athletes are not getting 8 hours of sleep, they are 30% more likely to suffer an injury just because they aren't sleeping 8 hours a night. So let's keep our coaching staff aware of any potential or serious injuries, and we can manage those as they come. Make sure you're on top of eligibility requirements. That's in your student handbook. Curfew is, I'm going to leave that up to your parents. Riding home from games, it's greatly encouraged to ride home on the bus, but if something comes up and we need to take our son home, then they need to be signed out using the athletics department release form. Jerseys, we have white jerseys for away games, black jerseys for home games. We wear the same pair of pants for both. Jersey care, wash them on cold, don't use hot water, and then don't put them in the dryer, just hang them up to dry. If your son has a cast or a brace that would need a doctor's note, please make sure that we get a copy of that. Make sure we're washing equipment regularly, especially after games. We're showering after practice. In games, we want to make sure that we're not spreading any sort of bacteria or infections or anything like that in our locker room. So we need to make sure we're cleaning things, disinfecting things, and staying on top of that stuff. As far as out-of-season sports, players are going to assume their own risk by participating in other sports during the football season. That I have no control over. If a student athlete decides to go play some pickup basketball game and unfortunately gets injured, then they're letting their teammates and coaches down, and that's not really following the we before me all-in philosophy. There, you see on the screen some places where you can find information about our football team. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sharing some information that way. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any point in time. On the right-hand side of the screen now, our football practice schedule. Our first practice will be Monday, August 12th. You can see that the locker room will open at 3:30, and we're going to meet in my classroom at 4 o'clock, and practice will be from 5 to 8. Same schedule again on Tuesday and on Wednesday, pretty similar schedule there. Thursday, we will have a two-a-day, August 15th. We will practice first in the morning and then in the afternoon. Those times and things are right there on the screen. Friday, August 16th, we will have one practice in the morning. Saturday, August 17th, we will have one practice in the morning. Monday is one practice in the afternoon. And then Tuesday, we have pictures, so you can see that information there. And Wednesday, August 21st, is our first day of school. And just keep in mind that Monday, September 12th, which is Labor Day Monday, let's make sure that we understand that we will have practice. Practice time will be from 6 to 8 p.m. And then we actually have a JV football game on that next day, Tuesday, September 3rd. Varsity practice will be at its normal time. So that concludes the player-parent meeting. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'll go back to my contact information here, and you can use that to get a hold of me. Send me an email, send me a text message, give me a call. I'll be more than willing to talk with you if you have any questions. I hope you all have a great day, and I'm looking forward to the 2019 football season. Go Tornadoes!